a crazy food that I once tried. Personally, it wasn't my favorite, but I wanted to try it, was chicken feet. Now, there's not a lot of actual meat on a chicken foot, but, I wanted to try it out, and, it was a little different. It was a little chewy and stuff, and, you're like, it's kind of like a drumstick with a lot less meat on it, because you got to work at it to get a little bit off of it. So that was kind of interesting. People would eat guinea pigs there. I thought that was a little weird, but I never tried it, so I guess I can't say it's not good. Some generic travel tips would be, number one, you're going to be rich down there because they use American money, so that's really, really simple. And your dollar is going to go a lot farther, so that's really cool. But you got to know when they're trying to take advantage of you because they know that you're American. So in the more touristy or centralized areas, like for instance, Guayaquil is like the big city. So if you're in like the main city parts, you might have to be a little bit more careful with your money because they're going to think that you can spend a lot more and they're going to take advantage of you a little bit more. For instance, if you're taking a taxi, they're going to, charge you, like $20 or something if they think that they can get away with it when really it should cost you like $3 or something, So you got to be careful judging if people are going to try to kind of catch you off guard there. Some other travel tips might be, being careful with the food that you eat. I felt like the people were pretty chill and pretty helpful. So obviously if you speak Spanish, fluently enough that you can, communicate as far as like getting around, asking questions, to, get guidance on locations to see or what bus to take. I feel like you could really get a lot of information from the people themselves, even if you didn't know exactly where to go or, hey, what would be a cool restaurant to eat at? I mean, maybe you could just ask the locals right there and they'd give you the 411. You'll probably want a lot of coins as far as money is concerned because you use coins a lot. I mean, I felt like having a dollar bill was even like a lot of money. I don't think we ever had a $20 bill. You can't use a $20 bill almost because they don't have enough change. Even if you use like a taxi who's using money all day, they just wouldn't have that kind of cash on hand. People just don't have a lot of money. So if you want to buy something for, let's say, even $10 and you have a 20, you think in America, oh, that's totally fine. They'll be able to give me $10 back. Not necessarily in Ecuador. So you want to have as many low number dollar bills or as many coins as possible. As far as like weather and stuff goes, I mean, it's just gonna be warm, so make sure that you're ready for some hot weather as far as clothing goes. Even at nighttime, it's not the coldest in most areas, in the cities and things. I think something that might be a little tricky is just getting used to like the bus system, just knowing where you want to go. I don't think there was ever an actual map of where the buses went. There might have been, but I don't remember ever getting one. So you might want to look into that before you start taking buses to who knows where you're going and then getting off and saying, I think we are now twice as far from our final destination as when we started. So that's maybe something you want to ask people about when you get on the bus. Hey, where's this bus going? Oh, I don't want to go there. Get off now. As far as crazy animal life and things like that, my first thought goes to this park I think it was literally called Iguana Park. And they just had wild iguanas just roaming around in this park. Would wildlife be considered cockroaches? Because there were a lot of cockroaches in Guayaquil, like the main city. You would just constantly be killing them, in your kitchen, which was like the grossest because you're like, oh my gosh, is it in my cereal? Or, your bedroom, you're like, this is kind of creepy because I'm sleeping in this area. With regards to eating food, it's rice. It's rice every day. It is the absolute staple of Ecuadorian food, as far as I know. I mean, maybe in Quito or something else, there might be some differences there, but in the city of Guayaquil and Zamora and Cuenca, the areas that I served, it was rice everywhere. And sometimes you had some chicken on top or seco de pollo. There's also some other really cool things that we would have there, like yuca was something cool that we got to eat. Oh, I love the juice. I'm a big fan of juice, right? And they would always offer you juice, and that was way better to me than just water or lemonade. Well, lemonade is technically juice, but for instance, they made watermelon juice. I don't think I've ever had that in America before going to Ecuador. I've since sought out watermelon juice like twice before since I returned, because I think, why don't we have watermelon juice? And we got lemonade, orange juice, etc., but we don't have watermelon juice. Everyone loves, well, a lot of people love watermelon, right? So that was a wonderful thing to get to participate in when you got offered, you know, some food, and you got a wonderful drink out of it as well. So I'm not a crazy world traveler. I'm not big on seeing all these different sites, but Zamora was probably the absolute coolest spot I ever got to be in, and it was fantastic there. I mean, you're literally in the middle of a jungle. You're just walking through rolling hills, and everything's just these beautiful colors of green everywhere, and just beautiful trees coming through, and you're going to houses like through pathways. I wasn't really big into seeing cathedrals. I mean, I thought the architecture was cool. You take some cool pictures, and that was cool, but not necessarily my favorite, but you know, some people love that. Ecuadorians are just really cool. I mean, they live in, obviously, difficult circumstances. I mean, there weren't a lot of super rich people. A lot of homes, it's very frequent that they have a second floor, but that it's completely unfinished with no roof. It's just a flat floor with some rebar kind of coming up, as if they were going to kind of keep building a second floor, but they just kind of stopped because they couldn't afford it. I mean, some people lived in homes where, I remember there's this one brother in our ward that, I mean, it was, I don't even remember if it was just tin sheets of tin, and there were just holes. You could just see the holes in you know, from back to back sheets of tin that, you know, weren't flesh. They were just kind of gaps there. And I thought, man, it's as big as like this room right here, and he has everything that he owns in this room. And there's just that wonderful sense of humility that kind of comes with that. And I just felt at home. And then another really cool thing that I learned just from the Ecuadorian people is just how generous they really are with how little they might have. I know that's a trite topic, but when you experience it yourself, it actually means something. You know, when someone lives in the poorest of poor circumstances and they're giving you lunch every Tuesday, sometimes it'll just bring tears to your eyes. Sometimes you'll just say, Heavenly Father, like, how does this family survive? Can you just please bless this family with any type of physical needs that they might have? And you know what? I don't know if the Lord necessarily even needs to, you know, because there's so many people out there who are just blessed in so many other ways that aren't materialistic, and they're happy with that. And that just goes to teach us that that happiness isn't in the physical things. It's in getting your life in line with, you know, Heavenly Father's will for you. And hey, if you have a big house or a little house, it doesn't even matter. So those are some awesome principles that I learned from the Ecuadorian people.